I cannot know exactly why Ikea have replaced this box of legs with this one now, but maybe they have been reading some of the reviews online, because the reviews for the old leg is not great. And maybe they're hoping that this one will be a better leg for the kitchen cabinets. I don't know. In this video, I want to share with you what's the difference between the old one and the new one. But most importantly, the new one has one problem. And I'm going to tell you what it is, but I'm also going to tell you what you can do about it, if that's relevant to your installation. So let's get started. The very first thing we see is that in the new box we only have 2 legs, whereas in the old one we had 4 of them. And I cannot know why IKEA they have decided to only have 2 legs in the new box. I am thinking it's because they don't think you need as many legs as I think you do. And IKEA is obviously not listening to me. So let's start by looking at the leg itself. In the box we have 2 legs and they are assembled already. The old one, if you have seen those, we have to put them together by ourselves. Now IKEA did it for us. So take the old one away and we'll look at the new one. This is the new leg, and then we bring in an old one. So we can see the difference, because the first thing we see is that this one, the plate that sits under the cabinet, is smaller. And for me that's a great change, because before, if you wanted to share a leg between 2 cabinets, you needed to have those small pegs into the holes under the cabinet. And these were easy to get in, the holes, but these small ones, not so easy. And that meant that sometimes, or actually most of the time, this one was not sitting flat under the cabinet. It was coming up a little bit, and that means the leg was not standing perpendicular to the cabinets. With the new one, they made it shorter, and now we only have 2 of those. And that means when we are sharing this one with 2 cabinets, when we're sharing one leg with 2 cabinets, IKEA like that, then this is easy to put in, because there are no pegs on the other side. And when we use it for one cabinet, where it sits on one cabinet only, we just put in these 2. On the other side, they have changed. As you can see, before these were molded right onto the base plate. Now they are sitting on some sorts of a little spring, and my view on that as an engineer is that now the tolerances between those 2 center distance do not need to be so accurate. I don't know if that's important, probably not. But the thing is that I also think that when we put the leg on the base plate, that it actually sits a little firmer. And what I have noticed, that when we put this one under the cabinet and we have the leg sitting, and if we're doing what I'm telling you not to do, but we try to move the cabinet sideways, this one will fall off the cabinet, whereas the old one, this one was very difficult to take off. So what happened if we move the cabinet is that this one will come off like this, and quite often this one would break. So that does not happen anymore. This one does not break. I would say that's not a big issue, because I don't put the legs on and slide the cabinets over the floor. If you have seen my other leg videos, I'm saying that again and again. Don't do that. I am, though, a little disappointed when I look in the manual for the new leg, because what they say in here, let me just show you. They say put the cabinet legs on the cabinet and then ask your friend to help you lift it around. And you can see those 2 guys, they are kind of, moving the cabinet around with legs on. I don't do that often. If it's a smaller cabinet, I do, but the bigger cabinets, I don't. And I'll show you this later in the video, how I put the legs on. So that was one change, the base plate. Another one, and that is a change I don't like, is that on the new leg, this ring is a part of the leg now. Before it was loose. Before we could move it up and down like this, But we cannot do that anymore. And for me, that is a problem if my clients are having floating floors, because floating floors, that could be laminate or vinyl, most vinyls, they are installed after the kitchen, not before, but after, because the kitchen is so heavy it cannot be standing on the floating floor, because the floor needs to be able to move, and if you put a really heavy kitchen up on top of the floors, that's not possible. So when this ring cannot move up, we have an issue. Let me show you what the problem is. So this is the new leg, and with this ring sitting all the way at the bottom, if we want to put in the floor after we put in the kitchen, sometimes there has to be 8-10 millimeters, 3/8 of an inch right here in clearance, and that means we cannot get close to the leg. So when the toe kick comes on, there might be a bit of a gap from the floor to the toe kick, and we don't like that. With the old leg, we could move this ring. Let me just show you. So this is the old leg, and on this one we can move the ring up and down, and that means we can move it up when the floor is being installed. And now we can move the floor closer to the leg, right there, and we can still have a bit of a distance as required by the manufacturer off the floor. That varies. Sometimes you can go all the way close to, but sometimes you cannot if it's a floating floor. But in this case we can get close, and then we can put the ring down, and now we're absolutely sure that our toe kick will cover this gap. So that's much better. That's not good with a new leg. So what do we do instead? Now with the new leg, what we can do is we can lift it up, and then we can put a little piece of wood under here, and then we can make sure that this here is sitting back from the ring like this. Then we can lower the leg and adjust and level our cabinet. And you just have to make sure that this piece of scrap wood is thicker than our floor. So when we put in the floor, we can go close to this now, like this. But as you can see, as this is sitting back, this is sitting back compared to the ring, we can get close to this one, and then now we're under the ring again. So that's one way to deal with this issue, that this ring is an integrated part of the leg. So how many legs do you really need under the base cabinets and under the high pantry cabinets? Well, if you have seen some of my other videos on the topic of legs, then you will know that I advocate for having 4 legs under each cabinet. However, since the new base plate is so much easier to add to the cabinet when the cabinet is sitting on the wall than the old one was, I now allow myself to share the legs between 2 cabinets at the back, not at the front, but at the back, as you can see in this picture. Ikea, on the other hand, they would like you to share a leg between 2 cabinets at the front and don't put a leg at the wall. I disagree on that. At the front, it's so much easier to adjust those cabinets when you're tying them together if you have a leg under each cabinet. And at the back, I see no reason not to put a leg there as well. We might as well make it as strong as possible. That's my philosophy. And the same goes for the corner cabinet. IKEA think it should be optional whether you want to have a leg under the cabinet at the wall or in the far corner as well. I don't subscribe to that idea. I like to have legs everywhere. And as I said before, you can share them between the cabinets at the back, but not at the front. That's how I do it. How you want to do it, I leave that entirely up to you. So before I let you go, I want to show you how I deal with the legs when I'm hanging a cabinet. I put on the base plates, but only at the front. And if it's a bigger cabinet, I leave it with the base plate. If it's a smaller cabinet, like 24 inches or smaller, which I feel I can handle with the legs on without breaking them off, that means I can lift the cabinet from my work table to the wall without putting it down. I also add the legs, and then I hang it on the wall. When the cabinet is sitting on the wall, I can use either my spirit level, or in this case, I have my laser level set up anyway because I've been levering another part of the kitchen. I just check that it's fairly level, so it's ready to be tied in to the cabinet sitting next to it. And when that is all done, I put in those gray plastic clips at the back, and now I can tie the cabinets together. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have not watched the other 2 videos on the topic of legs, I suggest that you do that right now, because these legs are giving people a lot of problems, and there's absolutely no need to if you know how to deal with these legs.